We're going to continue now with our last presenter, Riesah Proc. She is a shaman healer, speaker, and teacher in practice for more than 35 years. Following a vehicle collision that left her in a lot of pain and unable to sleep for about 13 years, she learned a way that took her into deep sleep for 8 hours a night. In her presentation, Sleep, What Do You Think? She shares her wisdom and experience about sleep. In today's presentation, she will talk about what not sleeping really creates, give a quick rundown on some overlooked actions we can take for better sleep. She's going to introduce new thinking in response to what is sleep, states of consciousness, and consciousness as the foundation for all that we are. We're going to end with a short meditation to put people to sleep so they can experience how easy it is to fall asleep. Welcome, Riesah.
I'm going to do that in a very short period of time, too, I hope. Thank you, Paula. Yes, I suffered with insomnia for 13 years. I was in a great deal of pain. I was rear-ended in a car collision. And I saw a lot of movies and listened to a lot of music and said the St. Francis prayer tens of thousands of times over that period in an effort that God or someone would hear me and take me back to sleep. I did everything I could to try and get back to sleep. And why don't we know how? Because it's a default program that came in with us when we were born. And for many years, when I wasn't sleeping, I was asking myself, what is sleep? So I've had a long time to consider it. And I'm wondering, just in the chat, if you could write in just a word or two what you think sleep is. Someone says rest. Thank you, Sandy. Recharge. Time for our system to integrate learning. Allowing the body to rejuvenate. Yes, these are some of the more scientific things that we've learned over the years when the body and sleep have been examined. What I want to tell you is what I've learned, if I may, since I have this opportunity. And thank you for sharing your thoughts about it. Sleep is another state of consciousness. We were given it with purpose. And what is that purpose? I believe it's like a sled or a vehicle that can take us into a place for dreaming to occur. It has definitely got its physiological, mental, emotional components. Yes, we have autophagy, where the brain dumps out all the stuff it's gathered through the day and gets rid of it overnight. And of course, if you're not sleeping, what are you doing? You're carrying around all that stuff every day, all day long and all night long, and perhaps for years, and it never has a way out. Not really. And this is why being sleepless is a very, very serious condition. And everyone does everything they can, just as I did, trying to get back to sleep. Everything but taking pills. I just wouldn't do that because I did not want to interfere with my consciousness. What I'm going to talk about a bit before I give you this experience of falling asleep easily is to say that what I've also learned in getting myself back to sleep, and that's in quotes, is that consciousness drives everything. Consciousness is the determiner for everything we are and everything we create. Yes, we all know it intellectually, but when you experience it as a creator, which we all are, you come to see what it is, how it is that you do this. So, yes, I have learned a way to put myself back to sleep, and I've helped many, many other people with that as well. I'm not going to be doing that here today. There isn't enough time. And it takes some work on your part, kind of like tuning up your consciousness. So if you're interested in that sometime later, perhaps you'll contact me and we can have a conversation about it. But right now, what I want to say is, as children, we start out, we wake up in the morning, we have a day, and then there's all this light, and then it starts getting dark. And our body, as a child, gets tired. And sometimes it takes an adult to point it out that you're tired and you need to get to sleep. And so we're put to bed. As adults, we're waiting till the children go to sleep so we can have some personal time and be grown-ups with each other. Now, over the years, and in certainly most recent times, we've been so engaged with technology. A new toy that was introduced, let's say in the 80s for sake of argument, and believe it or not, it's only been 40 years since technology began, and yet our lives are driven by technology in all its forms, and then some. And in the course of being engaged in technology, we have forgotten to pay attention to what's really happening to us when we ignore the signals that tell us it's time for bed. And we override those signals over and over and over again until our physiology can no longer recognize when it's time. We have the light of the day, we have the dark of the night, and that determines our circadian rhythm. When we get tired, when we need to eat, when we have energy to work out and walk and engage, and when it's time to turn out the lights and go to sleep. Now, you cannot go, as you've probably discovered if you're having trouble sleeping, you cannot go from a blue screen in front of a TV, a phone, or your computer and just immediately go to bed, turn out the light, and expect to sleep. Most people have trouble with that now. We're so overridden by these other patterns of behavior. So it takes practice to get back to discovering and paying attention to when we really do feel tired. My husband will tell you that around 9:15, I start to yawn. And even though I may be sitting in front of a wonderful film on Netflix, I have to get up and go to bed. I know now and have learned over the years since I've gone back to sleep that if I don't pay attention to those signals in my body and I override them, I don't get to sleep right. Sometimes I'm up all night because of it. Or I get 2, 3 hours and I'm awake for the rest of the whole night. I don't want to go back to being an insomniac. I don't recommend it. And this is why I talk about sleep to people, because it's such an essential part of our life. My young son once told me years ago that we spend 1/3 of our life sleeping. Imagine that. So, what can we do to make it possible for ourselves to sleep better? And I'm sure you've all read the articles, and I've read, I can't tell you how many books and studied and listened to doctors talk about sleep and what's required, and categorizing people into different types and so on to try and explain our behaviors. And I'll just quickly point something out about my husband. When I met him, he was going to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was going to sleep around 10 or 11. And we were like ships passing in the night. And he kept telling me he was a night owl. However, over the years of living with me, he's discovered that his system works pretty much like mine does. And if he goes to sleep, not necessarily as early as I do, but it's a whole lot earlier than 2 a.m., that he has a good night's sleep and wakes refreshed and well rested. Now, if you get into the type of age that I'm in, I just had a birthday and I turned 76. I am doing weightlifting, walking an hour every day. I am I'm feeling better in my life than I ever have. I'm healthier, and it's because I've applied the things I've learned, like what Arlen has talked about, and other things to my life, because I'm committed to being here to live my purpose and serve. Now, when you think about that in your life, how important are you going to make things like sleep and good health central to your life and your consciousness? We have to alter our cycles. And what that means is we can't anymore be unconscious to how we operate. Just like everything in life has a cycle. If you notice, if you're in a garden and you spend a day in a garden watching, just say one plant, you will see it altering its behavior through the light cycle and then into the dark. We are no different. We are all part of nature, and nature is part of us. So, how can we help ourselves? Well, one thing I do, and I've learned to do, is make my room very cold so that around supper time, my window in the bedroom gets open quite wide and the room gets really chilly. I'd rather have heavy blankets on me and be able to sleep soundly than sleep in a hot room. And in fact, many times in the night, if the temperature goes up and our heat is up, I can't sleep. It wakes me up. So make your room cool, cold. You will sleep better. Of course, take out of your bedroom all the blue screens, your phone, your telephone, if it's a landline, your telephone, if it's a mobile, your computer, your television. Put them in other rooms. The bedroom is for two things only: play and sleep. And there's a time for both. If you're a person who likes to drink a lot of coffee or caffeinated drinks, you may find, despite your efforts, and you think you know how much you're drinking, you may find that reducing that or even eliminating those caffeinated drinks after 2 p.m., that you will sleep better. Chocolate has caffeine in it. Now, why am I bringing these things up? Because it's our job, if we're going to be conscious, to recognize what it is that triggers the issues we have. And if you're having a sleep issue, you have to go through everything. It gets very granular after a while because you do all the big things first. And then you find, oh, just like Arlen said, when he's treating a patient, he may have to go more granular and read something he doesn't look at very often, but there's an answer. And that's what we have to do. Be on the lookout for the behaviors and the way we, for example, may eat at 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock at night and be digesting food at a time when it's better that our stomach and our internal workings are taking a rest with us. I'm not going to list the great long list of all the things that you can do, because I'm sure you can find them here, there, and everywhere. Wonderful book from the gal who ran Huffington Post, who wrote about sleep and discovered so much about it. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. What I want to say is consciousness, consciousness, consciousness. And so now I'm going to invite you to find a way to sit comfortably where you are so that you're feeling your bottom in the chair, your back supported, so you can relax into your chair. And if you feel to lie down, that's fine. Now I want you to take some very deep breaths. 3 seconds to breathe in and 5 to breathe out, like this. And when you become comfortable with that rhythm, gently close your eyes. In for the count of 3, out for the count of 5. And feeling as you examine your body, the letting go of every muscle, holding on, releasing, like water flowing, and breathing in still at the 3 count and out at the 5. There's nothing to do right now but to be here in this moment, allowing the body, the mind, to go off hand in hand, moving out and finding yourself, leaving the woods behind, stepping out into a meadow on a sunny day, and seeing ahead of you a very beautiful, enormous tree. And it's calling to you. It's the tree of life. And you move towards the tree, feeling as though you're coming home. It's so inviting. And you reach the tree and find a comfortable place to sit, letting your back relax against the tree trunk. And you look up through the branches of the tree and see the very blue sky, the blue sky that is so comforting, that draws you. And you just gently look at the sky. And there is a white cloud moving across the sky. This is like a thought that you notice. And like all thoughts now, you just let it go. You let it go like the clouds do when they move across the sky. And you are back to looking at the comforting blue sky and feeling nothing at all but the blue sky and you. And any cloud that comes by, you simply release. You release any concern about it, even a thought about it. It's gone. And there you are with the blue, very blue sky, just being with it and letting it draw you in. You and the blue sky. Nothing else matters. Nothing else is going on. The clouds come and go, and you are with the sky and finding such peace. Now, I'd love to let you continue experiencing that relaxation. I want to honor your time. So I invite you to very slowly come back into the room, taking some nice deep breaths from your belly. And then gently opening your eyes. There's no rush. Good. I'd love to know how that went for you. So maybe you can leave some comments in the chat. I have two, they're quotations. One from a teacher of mine, Don Oscar Miro Quesada, who I listened to speaking a while ago. And I've shared with you his words, how to start your day and how to end it, with your connection to the universe as you know it. When you wake up, before you put your feet on the floor, or shall I tell you how I do it? I thank the Creator for giving me life again today, for letting me sing the song of life and be in a state of gratitude for everything that I see is a blessing. And at night, before I go to sleep, before I finally drift off, I do the same. And throughout my day, whatever I'm doing from moment to moment, sometimes more conscious than at other times, I remember the source of life. When I step into my garden, I am enveloped in life in its greatest sense for me. And I'm filled with gratitude for the smallest and the largest. I am not a paragon of virtue. I am a disturber. But I've had to learn, in order to live a less stressful life, to slow down just a wee bit and take in all the goodness that I can find around me. Some days are more difficult than others. In addition to that, I've shared with you a quotation from Einstein, a great thinker who lived more than a century ago, who was talking about how our connection to the cosmos is essential to take us beyond the everyday and the close relationships that are just around us, out to the field of a broader, widened, universal awareness. Because that is where our source is, the source for our life, the source for all life as we know it. And I invite you to practice these ways just for a few moments each day and see what a difference it might make for you. You never know. And so on this lovely Saturday, which here is bright and sunny, I wish you all a blessed day and a life filled with miracles. From my heart to yours. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm very grateful.
Thank you, Riesah.
Merci, Riesah.
Incredible.
Thank you, Riesah.
Do we have questions for Riesah?
Lovely, Riesah. Excellent. Lovely.
Thank you, Bernie.
Well, I have a question, I guess. Thank you, first of all. Very relaxing. I mean, really wonderful. So my wife really likes a warm room to sleep in.
Mhm.
Any suggestions? I'd much rather have the window open.
I know my husband's a furnace, and I like to be warm too. I don't like being cold. So the way I have learned to do it is to put a light silk comforter on the bed, and then if one of us needs it, we can put a wool blanket on top, another on top, but still the environment in the room is cool. You won't get cold. Honestly, something else I do is a Wim Hof cold treatment, cold showers and going out into cold weather. That's a good way to build up your resistance and your resilience. So that's what happens when you sleep in a cooler room. It also, you might tell her this, it helps you to lose weight when your room is cooler. Sleep is an opportunity to lose weight. So we're not sleeping, we're getting like that.
I like the multiple layers, thinner layers. So, I think that maybe I can sneak that one in,
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
All windows open all winter long. When it was -40, it was still cracked open.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a question or comment? Bien. Bien, amigas, amigos. My kin, my family.